Happy Sat Stack and Saturday. Welcome everyone to No. 1 Daily Bitcoin Pod. Bitcoin finally pumping back in the green as we recaptured $85,000 in today's show. I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. We'll also be discussing breaking news. U.S. judge tosses the SEC fraud suit against Hex founder Richard Hart, as well as Trump to host the first White House crypto summit officially March 7th. We'll also be discussing the states likely to adopt Bitcoin reserves first, according to this latest report, as well as Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki says Bitcoin will hit 13 million and that Michael Saylor is one smart boy. We'll also be discussing the catalyst which will spark a 6x Bitcoin explosion to 500,000 per coin during these challenging times, according to the Standard Chartered executive. We'll also be discussing everything you need to know in the market right now. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes. Go ahead, subscribe, then ring the bell. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto newsletters every single day, 7 days a week, including Sat Stack and Saturdays, just like this. Today is pod episode 1920, making this the most persistent, consistent Bitcoin podcast in the crypto sphere. That's a fact, Jack. And if you know another Bitcoin pod with 1920 episodes, holla, because I don't know of any others. But anyways, I'm here in the flesh. It's Sat Stack and Saturday, March 1st, so happy first of the month. February is behind us. Now we're looking forward. We're still in the thick of it here in Q1. Let me know where you feel the price action will likely take us for March. And let's jump right into today's market watch. You can see Bitcoin pretty bitty going up 1% on the day in the green, trading at 85.5 at the time of the live. We have Ether down 0.5%, doing what it does best, going down. And we have XRP, BNB, Tron, and Cardano pumping and in the green. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap, let's get a refresh here, baby. Currently sitting at 2.81 trillion, back on the rise. The Bitcoin market cap, 1.693 trillion, back on the rise. We have roughly 86 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance coming in at 60.2%, with the Ether dominance all the way down to 9.5%. What's going on, Ether? Now checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got HBAR up 14%. We got Grass up 11%. And Maker up 7%. Shout out Jason Buck. He just gifted 10 memberships here. And I appreciate you doing that because I'm going to match it. Later on in the stream, I'm going to gift 10 memberships for a total of 20 memberships gifted today. Congratulations, Laser Cat. Olalam, Jason, James, Dell, Chris, Sweet Bitty McGee, Carlos, George Martinez, Diamond Dave, and Weon Lee. You've all been hooked up with the MicroStrategy membership of the channel on behalf of Jason Buck. So congratulations, all the new members, and that's very kind of you to do, Jason. And stick around, fam. I'm going to gift an additional 10 memberships later on in the stream for a total of 20 memberships gifted today alone, March 1st. Let's make it happen. But anyways, checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today, we're rated a 20, extreme fear. Yesterday, 16. And remember, a couple of days ago, we hit the bottom, which was a 10. And last week, a 49. Last month, a 70 in greed. Let's kick off today's astrology for the broskies. As you can see, the headline reads, Bitcoin price risk correction of 72 as investor sentiment weakens. And again, I'm also going to be pulling up the live charts, but here's a little TA. Bitcoin may say a brief correction to 72 support as an imminent market recovery remains limited by the lack of crypto investor sentiment, which has dropped to lows not seen since 2022. So these are like 3-year lows. Bitcoin price hit an over 3-month low of 78,100 February 28th, falling over 28% from the record high of 109 reached on inauguration day, which was Jan 20th. Bitcoin may experience a deeper retracement towards the low 70,000 range as the market repositions. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that sentiment, or do you think the bottom is in when we just tapped 78? So yeah, quoting the analyst, a significant drop below 75 seems less likely, while there might be a temporary backtrack as the market fills in the gaps left during the rapid climb, referring to the CME futures gaps. Bitcoin is more likely to establish firm support in the 72 to 80 $100,000 range. This support can provide a foundation for a more sustainable recovery, reducing the likelihood of a deeper retracement. Exactly. Now, other analysts also predict the Bitcoin bottom near 70,000, as we shared just Blaze Arthur Hayes. Based on the correlation with the global liquidity index, Bitcoin's right-hand side, which marks the lowest bid price someone is willing to sell the currency for, may fall below 70 Gs around the end of February after it peaked near 110,000 in January. Well, clearly February is officially behind us as it is now March 1st, but you guys let me know your thoughts. Also, the first warning of a correction to 70,000 was also not just given by Arthur Hayes, but allegedly from Raoul Pal as well. And analysts expect Bitcoin to find its bottom and start a recovery in the coming weeks. The crypto market remains limited by lack of investor confidence. And as I demonstrated with the crypto greed and fear index today, we're rated a 20 in extreme fear. And a couple of days ago, we hit the bottom, which was a 10. Now, the last time investor sentiment dropped to a similar level was the month after Bitcoin fell to 17.5, experiencing a monthly decline of over 37% all the way back in June of 2022, virtually 3 years out. The investor sentiment decline was caused by an array of external and crypto-specific factors, according to the Bitfinex analyst, quoting them here. Overall, the combo of a sharp Bitcoin price drop, regulatory uncertainty, security breaches, and declining altcoin valuations has led to extreme fear in the market. But the silver lining is the more we go in extreme fear and the lower that number gets on the crypto greed and fear index, the more likely of a pump. Now, let's pull up some of the live charts for y'all. We'll look at some different looks in the different time frames. And again, welcome everyone joining the stream as we continue our nice little pump. We're now up over 1,800 on the day, which is a beautiful thing. But as you can see here on your screen, this is Coinbase via TradingView. I'm going to zoom it out to the 1 hour and we'll work our way out from there just to get some different looks really quick. The 1 hour chart, you can see we're finally recovering in the green. I'd say, the last 5 candles, 4 of the 5 have been green as we continue to run up around 85.5 at the time of the live. And zooming out from the 1 hora, let's look at the 4 hour. And the 4 hour says it's going up forever, JV. You can see a nice little recovery after bottoming out at 78,000 with that big green candle. And we've been slowly escalating north. And again, we're at 85.5 at the time of the live. Zooming out from the 4 hour and we take a look at the daily. And finally, we got some green as virtually the past week has been pretty bearish. But we do have some bear targets, even on the daily chart you need to be aware of. One sitting at 68,699. And then we have a super bear target sitting all the way down at 49 Gs. And zooming out from the daily, we take a look at the weekly. The weekly chart, even though we've had an extremely bearish week, and we will get a weekly close tomorrow around this time, but we still have the cup and handle target sitting at 124,000, which has been in play for several months now. And I think we still have that possibility of reaching this sometime here in March, but we obviously must get above the psychological resistance of 100,000, retest 109.3, which is current price discovery. And then logically speaking, I think that's the next leg up is going to be somewhere between 120 and 130,000. Let me know if you agree, disagree, and when you likely think we'll test that. And zooming out from the weekly, we check out the monthly. And on the monthly, you can see we just got the monthly candle close for the month of February, which unfortunately was a big red candle. Now, traditionally, the year after the halving, February is typically a bullish month, so maybe we make up for it this month of March. But you guys let me know how you feel. The price action will likely go from here. So let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss the latest with Hex versus the SEC. Won't let me be. So yeah, U.S. judge tosses the SEC fraud suit against Hex founder Richard Hart. So this is pretty big news. The district court judge dismissed the U.S. security regulator's lawsuit accusing Hex founder Richard Hart of raising over $1 billion through unregistered crypto offerings and defrauding investors of $12.1 million. Hart, whose real name is Richard Schuler, was also accused of spending those allegedly stolen funds on luxury items, including the world's largest black diamond. However, Judge Carol Bagley Ammon said those alleged deceptive acts couldn't be decided on as the SEC failed to establish that the U.S. had jurisdiction over Hart's crypto activities, which she said were global in scope and not specifically targeted at U.S. investors. Quoting her here, the alleged misappropriation occurred through digital wallets and crypto asset platforms, none of which were alleged to have any connection with the United States. So to the extent of the complaint, it shows Hart misappropriated investor funds through deceptive mixer transactions. Those actions occurred entirely outside of the United States, ultimately saying we have no jurisdiction, so we can't do anything. The crypto tokens that the SEC alleged were unregistered securities included Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and Hex, which have increased 36, 67, and 78% respectively since Ammon, the judge, made the verdict. Hart acknowledged that a winning securities-related court case over the SEC was rare. Facts. Adding that he is now relieved to see the Pulse and Hex coins flourish. Yeah, I bet you he's relieved he's not going to prison. That's big. Quoting him here, Hex has operated flawlessly for over 5 years. Today's decision in favor of the crypto founder and his projects over the SEC brings welcome relief and opportunity to all cryptocurrencies, quoting Hart from his post on X just yesterday. Now, the judge, however, stated the SEC can amend the deficiencies found in its complaint by refiling within the next 20 days. And in addition to purchasing the Enigma, a 555-carat black diamond costing 3 million British pounds, almost 4 million USD, the securities regulator also accused Hart of spending investor funds on McLaren and Ferrari sports cars and 4 Rolex watches, costing 3 million between August 3rd, 2021 and September of 2022. Hart, a U.S. citizen believed to be living in Finland, isn't entirely out of legal trouble. September 13th last year, Finnish authorities remanded Hart into custody following allegations of tax fraud and assault. However, the relevant authorities have been unable to locate him. And a few months later, December 22nd, Interpol issued a red notice for Hart based on the same allegations. Finnish authorities were, however, able to seize 2.6 million worth of watches, which you can see on your screen, that he is believed to have abandoned in that Louis Vuitton box. There you go. 8 of the watches were seized by the Finnish authorities. Which is your favorite? I'll take the Bitcoin orange one on the top left. You guys let me know. But while the authorities are still unable to locate Hart, he remains active on social media, continuing to promote his cryptos on X and upload videos on his YouTube channel. It feels like he figured out how to never be caught, because he hasn't been caught even with all those legal troubles before they even dismissed it, which is always interesting. Maybe he's like the second coming of Satoshi. I don't know. You can't find the guy. But nonetheless, if you really wanted to find Richard Hart, the Nippinator will lead you right to him. I mean, he's doing God's work after all. Shout out to the Nippinator. But anyways, next story of the day. Here's the latest with Trump and crypto. This was big news announced just yesterday. Headline reads, Trump to host the first White House crypto summit on March 7th, 6 days out. So I guess that would be this coming Friday. Bring it. Let's break her down. Trump will host the first White House summit March 7th, bringing together industry leaders to discuss regulatory policy, stablecoin oversight, and the potential role of Bitcoin in the U.S. financial system. The attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry, along with members of the president's working group on digital assets. According to an announcement shared by the White House crypto czar David Sachs, who posted it just today. The summit will be chaired by Sachs and administered by Bo Hines, the executive director of the working group. Now, here's the official announcement from the White House for immediate release. White House to host the first ever crypto summit. Bring it. The White House announced today President Trump will deliver remarks of the first ever White House summit on Friday, March 7th. Attendees will include prominent founders and everything I just said. Sachs was appointed White House crypto czar and also AI czar December 6th to work on the legal framework so that crypto industry has the clarity it has been asking for and can thrive in the U.S. And Trump wrote in the announcement, part of Sachs' role is to safeguard online speech and steer us away from big tech bias and censorship. Let's go. Trump previously signaled that he intends to make crypto policy a national priority and make the U.S. a global hub for blockchain innovation. The upcoming summit may set the tone for crypto regulations over the next 4 years. Sachs only has 2 years to push through pro-crypto policies before the 2026 midterm elections in the U.S. Joe Dahl, the general counsel for the NFT marketplace Magic Eden, shared. And according to Dahl, the threat of a gridlock government could stifle regulation, and the current administration must push through the pro-crypto policies while still in control of both chambers of Congress. And while there is no additional details about the summit's agenda, stablecoin regulation and legislation related to a potential strategic Bitcoin reserve has been at the forefront of regulatory discussions in the United States. The White House announcement comes days after Jeremy Allaire, co-founder of Circle, the company behind the world's second largest stablecoin, in which I am not a fan of and do not trust, said that stablecoin issuers worldwide should be required to register with the U.S. authorities. Citing consumer protection, he argued that the U.S. dollar-based stablecoin issuers would not get a free pass, enabling them to ignore the U.S. law and go do whatever the hell you want, wherever, to sell into the United States. Quoting him here, whether you're an offshore company or based in Hong Kong, if you want to offer your U.S. dollar stablecoin in the U.S., you should need to register in the U.S., just like we have to go register everywhere else. The upcoming summit may shed more light on the upcoming stablecoin legislation, as well as, Bitcoin adoption. And as you know, interest in the U.S.-based strategic Bitcoin reserve is also on the rise. Thus far, at least 24 states have introduced legislation related to the potential Bitcoin reserve, as outlined here, with all the orange states taking over the world. However, the state-level Bitcoin reserve initiatives may not be representative of a pivotal movement for the BIDI. They are only a symbolic move unless a significant purchase is announced. Well, thanks, Captain Obvious, Mr. Nexo. But unless the hearing unveils a near-term purchase plan or a major policy shift, the market's response will likely be mild, as Texas's pro-crypto stance is already well known, which was our featured story in yesterday's podcast. If you missed it, make sure to check out pod episode number 1919. Bitcoin has an average of over 1,000% returns over the past 5 years, showing the lucrative potential of the long-term hodling strategy. Hodl, hodl, hodl. Be thy name. Let's discuss the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the states a little deeper. Headline reads, states likely to adopt Bitcoin reserves first, according to this latest report. The states are likely to adopt Bitcoin reserves before the U.S. federal government. We all, I think, could agree on that. And this is according to Cynthia Lummis, who reported February 28th during the Bitcoin Investor Week conference in New York. Quoting her here, my bets are that y'all see a state have a Bitcoin strategic reserve before the federal government. So then our question becomes, what state will it be? Will it be Utah? Will it be Texas? Will it be, what are the other ones at the forefront right now? There's Utah, there's Texas, there's so many, but let's just dive deeper. Lummis, the Wyoming Republican, proposed legislation that would require the U.S. Fed to create the National Bitcoin Stockpile. Her bill, dubbed the Bitcoin Act, calls for the U.S. Treasury Department to gradually accumulate 1 million of the BIDI, ultimately acquiring a total stake of approximately 5% of the total Bitcoin supply, mirroring the size and the scope of the gold reserves held by the United States. If Fort Knox even has any gold in their reserves, according to the Lummis website, is outlined right here. Now, in January, Trump signed the executive order requiring federal officials to study the feasibility of a national Bitcoin stockpile. How long is that going to take to study? I mean, anyone with half a brain can study that in half a day, so I find it all hilarious, but you guys tell me your thoughts. It was one of the first actions of Trump's second presidential term, which started on January 20th. You need about a 5-minute conversation with Michael Saylor to know everything you need to know, Trump. Come on now, let's get busy here. In February, Trump signed another order instructing the U.S. government to create the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which could potentially serve as a vehicle for buying the BIDI. Quoting him here, we are seeing the United Arab Emirates purchase Bitcoin. You're going to look at some of the sovereign wealth funds around the world who are not as tied up in a democratic republic like we are, be able to make it so. This is quoting actually Lummis. There are 18 U.S. states that have crypto reserve bills pending Senate votes, while 2, Arizona and Utah, are in the very final stages of the approval process. Who's going to have the first mover's advantage? Let me know. State crypto investment bills have been rejected in Montana. Wyoming, how are they going to reject it in Cynthia Lummis' hometown? Unacceptable. North Dakota, South Dakota, and Pennsylvania. Who cares about those states anyways? Just playing. Although some states run by Dems might resist Trump's crypto-friendly stance, others are expected to embrace crypto as a bipartisan issue. That's right, quoting Ashley Gunn, Coinbase's senior manager for U.S. policy. There are so many states out there that are pro-crypto, and they don't necessarily follow the blue or red policies. We're making America orange, just like the orange man, or POTUS. Establishing the strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States of America would accelerate Bitcoin adoption even more than 2024's exchange-traded fund launches, the ETFs, according to the crypto researcher. We also believe that the enactment of the Bitcoin Act in the United States would have more of a profound long-term impact on the BITI than the launch of the ETFs. Let me know if you agree. Launched in January of 2024, the exact date was Jan 11th. U.S.-based Bitcoin ETFs hold upward of $100 billion worth of Bitcoin. And I dare say half of that goes to IBIT, BlackRock being the largest asset manager on this planet. Next story of the day. We got two more featured stories. They're both bullish. We're going to discuss Rich Dad talking about Michael Saylor's 13 million prediction, and then we'll dive into Standard Chartered Bank's 500,000 prediction. We'll gift 10 memberships after our featured story at the top of the hour, and then we'll do some live Q&A and flip it into a pump watch and keep the stream going, some bonus hours. Let me know if that sounds good, and give it up for the one and only new chairman of the SEC, Nippinator. And yeah, here we go. Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki says Bitcoin will hit 13 million per coin, and that Mikey Saylor, he's one smart boy. Yeah, he's the smartest boy you're going to find. Kiyosaki backed Michael Saylor's Bitcoin prediction November 20th, claiming the Bitcoin can reach 13 million per coin. I know we've covered Saylor's prediction here on the stream, but here's what Kiyosaki wrote, and we'll pull up the actual tweet as some proof of work. Here we go. I'm going to read this one to you. Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki wrote this on November 19, 2024, close to 5 million views. Here's what he said. 13 million Bitcoin, according to Mikey Saylor. I believe he is right. He is one smart boy. Bitcoin today is 90,000. If Saylor is on target, which I think he is, that means for 9,000 today, you buy 0.01 Bitcoin today, you are a millionaire tomorrow. I honestly don't understand Kiyosaki's math, but bear with me. Sure beats going 50,000 in debt for a student loan, studying for years just to earn a flimsy MBA. Get smarter, buy the Bitcoin today. I am. And that's the original tweet there from Kiyosaki, comparing Bitcoin's potential to traditional educational costs, adding Bitcoin today is 90,000, and if Saylor's on target, which I think he is, 9,000 today, and you buy 0.01 Bitcoin today, you're a millionaire tomorrow. Clearly exaggerating, but nonetheless, I think he's right in the sense I'd much rather purchase Bitcoin and hodl it for the next 10 years than go, let's say, $100,000 in debt, getting myself a degree, which is going to be useless because AI is going to make it useless by the time you get your actual degree. Can I get an amen? But his statement followed a discussion between Saylor and Patrick Bet-David, where Bet-David questioned the long-term valuation of MicroStrategy. Now we know is branded as Strategy B. Bet-David's calculations suggested if Bitcoin reached 13 million, MicroStrategy can grow into a $10 trillion company within 2 decades. And in that very same interview, and I know because I transcribed it and watched it several times, Michael Saylor also projected he believes Bitcoin to hit 100 million per coin. So if you think you're bullish, I dare say you're not bullish enough. But let's realistically talk. Can it really hit 13 million per coin? Well, Saylor defended the projection, explaining the math behind it. Let's break her down. Multiply 13 million divided by 90,000 and it gets you to a big number, he said on the podcast. He argued that if Bitcoin's adoption rate increased from 0.1% today to 7% globally, demand would rise significantly, leading to a massive price surge. And given that Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins, such adoption levels could drive the BTC price to millions per coin. So if Bitcoin reached 13 million per coin, owning 0.01 Bitcoin today for 9,000 will be worth 130,000 in the future. So what's better, Bitcoin versus the NBA? Which holds more value? And I think that's like a stupid question. I think we would all unanimously agree that we much rather have Bitcoin over an MBA. Yeah, MBA gets you a degree. But is a degree even useful in today's modern age in 2025 with AI technology and all of this stuff? I dare say many of you guys who get your degree, and I'm not knocking education, I'm a firm believer in it, but I think self-education is more important than any school education or education. They're making you get out of coercion and fear that if you don't have this degree, you're not going to find work in the marketplace, you're going to be poor, you're going to be on food stamps and government assistance and this type of ordeal. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree, and I'll read these comments out loud. Now for our feature story of the day. These catalysts can spark 6x Bitcoin explosion to 500,000 per coin during these challenging times, according to Standard Chartered Bank executive. And yes, the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered is none other than the largest asset manager in the world, which is BlackRock. And you should be able to see here on your screen. Let's break this baby down. Standard Chartered's head of digital asset and research, Geoffrey Kendrick, not to be confused with Kendrick Lamar. It's not like us. Leaning bullish on the biddy amid the correction that has seen the crypto king fall now close to 30% from the all-time high, reached Jan 20th on Inauguration Day. Kendrick says in the CNBC interview that a lot of negativity thrown at the crypto sector recently has driven the biddy to levels last witnessed about 4 months ago. That's right. Quoting him here. So somewhat challenging times, but again, for me, the medium-term story still remains very, very positive. According to Kendrick, Bitcoin can go up 135% this year and up to 513%, roughly 6x, by early 2029. Quoting him here. The medium-term topside potential, which for me is Bitcoin up to 200,000 this year and 500,000 per coin before Trump leaves office. Let me know if you guys agree and disagree. And on the catalyst that can drive the preload biddy to rally to a price up to $500,000. Standard Chartered head of digital assets shared the following. We should get more regulatory clarity through the year. This is stablecoin regulation. We should get to know your client type regulations come through, which can help the industry as well. And that should further legitimize. So you'll see more U.S. banks involved. You'll see the larger institutions in the U.S. continue to push through. And in the ETFs thus far, we haven't really seen much of the very long-term pension funds in the U.S. So here I am thinking state pension funds, etc., that are huge in size. They have $40 trillion worth of assets, and they only currently own 1% of all the ETFs in the U.S. So there is a very, very long-term sector that is still to participate. More regulatory clarity will help that. And then also the sovereign wealth funds. So the only sovereign that we know thus far that has bought the ETF is the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund. And they, if you don't know, they bought roughly $500 million worth, roughly 500 million. I'd expect more of that to come through this year as well. Agreed. So long-term pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, etc., are getting involved. So there's some of the reasons of why they believe Bitcoin will hit 500,000 before Trump leaves office. You know what I mean? So let me know if you agree or disagree. And again, welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. I'm going to do my best to read your comments out loud, and give me a couple of minutes and we'll gift 10 memberships. Sound good? Let me know. We are up 11 hundo on the day, and we'll also, obviously, I'm going to stick around for at least an extra hour. We'll do some live Q&A, and we'll flip this stream into a pump watch as well. And we'll keep the stream running for like 3-4 bonus hours for you guys. Let me know if that sounds good. And again, welcome everyone joining us. It is a try stream. We're live on X, Rumble, and YouTube. And happy Sat Stacking Saturday. Happy first of the month. My brothers, we having a wonderful day. It's the first of the month, and we stacking biddy with the Nipsey. Yeah, man. Shout out Hakar. Welcome to the live stream, brother. So let people know we're about to gift the 10 memberships.